Sup, I'm Adrian, and now that I'm back, as is everything that I do, like weekend recap. You know it, you love it, or at least you like it. Otherwise, why are you watching this? Maybe it's because you don't know what the weekend recap is, and it's simple. Weekend recap, hard to say. I get you up to speed on everything that has happened over the weekend from the top 5 leagues in Europe. Sometimes I throw in a bonus league as well to expand your horizons in the ongoing effort to ensure that we are worldly beings, worldly inhabitants of planet Earth. It's deeper than football. If that sounds cool to you and you haven't subscribed already, then feel free to do so, because you'll see we have a ton of other videos that we do as well. It's not just weekend recaps, right? Alright, to the EPL, starting with Manchester United versus Wolves. Wolves, of course, the little promoted side that could, doesn't play like a promoted side, and they came to Old Trafford to try to be the shit disturbers on the day that Sir Alex Ferguson made his return to the stadium following his health problems this year. See how I just painted them as heartless there? I didn't intend to. Well, United certainly started the match by playing some entertaining football. In fact, it was the most entertaining I've seen them since the beginning of last season, I gotta say, and that was enough to give them the lead when Paul Pogba's deft little doink set up the ball perfectly for Fred to smash in his first goal for United. However, Wolves always looked a threat going forward, and João Moutinho delivered on that threat with a left-footed lashing of the ball into the top corner. United were wasteful with opportunities, or perhaps guilty of overplaying at times, and the score ended with odds even 1-1. And this stat by Opta Joe was truly fascinating to me, as it just raises so many questions. Is it the improvement of the promoted sides? Is it Mourinho's naive tactics against them? Does it simply speak to the terrible defenders that Mourinho has? You tell me. Liverpool continued to rollick all comers as they hosted Southampton, the big return of Daddy Ings. Oh wait, nah, he couldn't play because of that stupid rule or clause that forbids loan players from playing against their parent clubs. Which is frustrating because I think it's going to be a permanent deal after the initial loan. But anyways, I'm not sure he would have made a massive difference, however, as Liverpool were fairly dominant and the service to the Saints strikers was trash. Long only had one attempt, which was blocked. Liverpool, on the other hand, put 3 past McCarthy in the Saints' goal, including Mo Salah scoring his 3rd in 7 appearances for Liverpool this season. That means that he has been involved in 41 goals in 31 appearances across all competitions at Anfield. Man City also returned to their winning ways following that disappointing 2-1 home loss to Olympique Lyon in the Champions League midweek. Fabian Delph on a mad one in that one. But in this match, there was no question who the superior side was, as City thrashed Warnock and his Cardiff boys 5-0. Flat track bullies. That was a joke, City fans. Aguero scored on what was his 300th appearance for Man City, taking his career tally for the club up to 205. Bernardo Silva scored and assisted, taking his goal involvement up to 3 in the last 2 matches, while Riyad Mahrez scored a brace, his first and second goals for Man City. Spurs just barely made it over the finish line away to Brighton, at least that's how it looks on the score sheet, winning just 2-1. But that pads the score a bit, as Spurs were dominant and Brighton scored what was an exquisite counterattack in the 92nd minute. West Ham continued their effort to turn their season around after beating Everton last weekend. They followed that up with a 0-0 draw at home to Chelsea. The West Ham fans wouldn't have enjoyed watching this one, however, as they had 28% of the ball and only 1 shot on target, at home, no less. But regardless, that's 4 points from 2 matches after securing 0 from their first 4. Speaking of Everton, by the way, they lost their 2nd match in a row to the quietly improving Arsenal. 2-0, thanks to 2 quick goals from who else but Aubameyang and Alexandre. What the f do I have to do to get a regular starting spot? Lacazette. In fact, when both Aubameyang and Lacazette do start, Arsenal have done quite well. Both of them have scored in 3 of the last 5 matches they have started together. Buddies doing bits. By the way, if you haven't seen Lacazette's goal, also, that's 4 matches in a row now that Arsenal have won in the Premier League, and 5 in a row since their 3-2 loss to Chelsea across all competitions. And that's it from England on this occasion, besides a massive shout out to Burnley, who won 4-0 over Bournemouth, who have looked decent until this point. Interested to see if they can rally from these 2 losses in 3 matches, especially the rollicking by one of their competitors. Alright, Moving on for real this time. Let's head to Spain now as Real Madrid looks to build upon their 3-0 win over Roma midweek with a strong showing against Espanyol. And while Real Madrid weren't completely dominant, their defense probably allowed the Espanyol attackers through a little more than they would have liked, even hitting the bar on one occasion. It never really felt like Los Blancos were going to lose this match. The man who delivered them to victory was Marco Asensio, whose 42nd minute strike was enough for Real, breaking his own personal goalless run in La Liga, which dated back to February of this year. That was also his first of the season, which sort of surprises me actually, given his 5 starts in La Liga. Mind you, I was away for 4 weeks where I barely got to see any football, so what do I know, right? The biggest star for Madrid, however, was Casemiro, who won the ball 14 times for his side, which was a personal record for him. Celta Vigo and Real Valladolid played out a classic that ended 3-3 thanks to a 93rd minute equalizer for Valladolid thanks to Leo Suarez. The influence of their new owner, Ronaldo perhaps? No, probably not at all actually. Also, Atletico Madrid got just their 2nd victory of the season in La Liga, beating Getafe 2-0, with Thomas Lemar scoring his first goal for his new club in the 60th minute. Big up Thomas. French pronunciation. Elsewhere, Sevilla were big 6-2 winners over Levante away, which was just the first time in Sevilla's history that they have scored 6 away from home. Wissam Ben Yedder notched a hat-trick, while Pablo Sarabia got a hat-trick of assists and 1 goal. In fact, Ben Yedder also had 1 assist, so both he and Sarabia were involved in 4 of the 6 goals each. Valencia, well, they're still having a hard time as they are winless in La Liga after drawing 0-0 with Villarreal. Hey! It ain't a loss, right? By the way, I don't know what was up with Spain this weekend, but there were so many red cards. How many? 7, including in Barcelona's matchup against Girona, where Langelet was sent off in the 35th minute, which really made things difficult for his side. Making the most of the one-man advantage, Christian Stuani scored a brace to put Girona ahead of Barcelona, but Gerard Piqué got his lanky body in line to head a loose ball in to make it 2-2. And that's how this one ended. So that means that Barcelona have reclaimed their top spot in Spain, but it's close now, as they only lead due to their +2 goal advantage over Real Madrid. Okay, let's switch to Italia now, where Inter had a very tricky away match to Sampdoria, who scored 8 goals and conceded none in their last 2 matches. How? They defeated Napoli with a 3-0 win a few weeks ago and dismantled Frosinone 5-0 in the last match. But perhaps bringing with the confidence they gained from their last-minute victory over Spurs, Inter kept this match under control, and despite Raja Nainggolan having a goal called back under mysterious circumstances earlier in the match, Inter found the breakthrough in the 85th minute when Kwadwo Asamoah Oh, wait a minute, that was disallowed as well. And of course, Sampdoria went ahead a few minutes late. Oh, nope, they had their goal called back as well, this time for offside. Then finally, in the 94th minute, Marcelo Brozovic got his goal called back. Oh no! He smashed it across the face of goal and it went in off of the keeper and in, and it was a legitimate goal this time. Inter with another injury time winner. Also, a shout out to Parma, who won their 2nd match in a row after they defeated Cagliari at home 2-0, with Gervinho scoring one of the sickest goals of the weekend, taking it all the way from his own midfield, beating 3 or 4 defenders, I can't remember now, and then smashing it in off of the post. The 5-head strikes again, still getting it done. AC Milan faced a stern task up against Atalanta this weekend, who, like their opposition, haven't had the strongest of starts, but just seem like they are a good result away from getting their season started off. Gonzo Higuain has looked at it for Milan recently, as he scored in his 2nd match running in the Serie A and his 3rd in a row across all competitions. Higuain got it going early for Milan actually, scoring after just 1 minute and 33 seconds. But twice Milan went ahead and twice Atalanta clawed them back, with a 91st minute equalizer by Emiliano Rigoni stealing a point for Atalanta. Lazio and Napoli also got victories, with Napoli improving their record to 4 wins and a loss after their victory over Torino, away, I will say, which is a good win, while Lazio welcomed Genoa and beat them 4-1, with Immobile truly finding his form with a brace following his goal against Apollon midweek, so that's 3 goals in 2 matches for him. Juve's collective mouths must have been watering at the prospect of facing newly promoted Frosinone this weekend, with the Minnows yet to secure a single point in the Serie A this season, let alone score a single goal. It was largely a frustrating night for all, and with Cristiano Ronaldo looking for revenge, little Drake there for you, from his Champions League red card, then you know how things were going to go in this one. That's right, a barrage of shots from Cristiano, who in this match actually overtook Frosinone for the amount of shots attempted in the Serie A this season. That's right, Ronaldo has taken more shots than Frosinone. However, he's also scored more goals than them, as Frosinone has 0, and Ronaldo, who scored the winner for Juve on the night, took his tally to 3 in the Serie A. Bernardeschi, who looked great once again when he was subbed on, scored the insurance goal, his second in 4 Serie A appearances. Though Ronaldo and Bernardeschi won the match for Juventus, they didn't win as far as their celebratory handshake goes. And finally in Italy, Roma continued their sluggish start to things, losing away to Bologna, meaning they're winless in their last 6 matches across all competitions. Dire times there at the moment, though they have a chance to bounce back against Frosinone midweek. Something tells me Frosinone will score their first goal of the season against Roma, but still lose. Alright, in Germany, there were a few decent matchups on Saturday, starting with Hertha Berlin versus Borussia Mönchengladbach, where Andre Duda became the first player in Hertha Berlin history to score 4 goals in 4 match days, leading his side on to a 4-2 victory. Borussia Dortmund and Hoffenheim squared off with Joe Wellington, putting the Hoffs ahead in the 44th minute. Things looked grim for Dortmund when Abdou Diallo was sent off in the 75th minute, but some great play from Marco Reus led to Christian Pulisic scoring his second in 2 appearances and tying the match for Dortmund. That means that Dortmund are actually yet to lose so far this season. Though we have to remember how they started last season as well before the wheels really began to come off there. Let's not get too ahead of ourselves with the Dortmund is back stuff yet, guys, but don't stop believing. You know? You confused yet? Don't get ahead of yourself. Don't stop believing. Which one is it? Do whatever you want. Bayern Munich also got a win. Surprise, surprise. This time against Schalke, with Manuel Neuer returning to Gelsenkirchen once again, and for the 13th time in a row, almost at 14th, he hasn't lost. The scorers on the day for Munich were James Rodriguez, who has been involved in 3 goals in his last 3 matches. Lewandowski scored the second, a penalty, which ensured that not only is Neuer unbeaten in 13 visits to his former club Schalke, but Bayern Munich are now unbeaten in 27 Bundesliga matches during the Oktoberfest season. That's why you watch these videos, to learn that kind of thing. Thanks for that, Opta. By the way, that means that Schalke are now dead last in the Bundesliga with 0 wins, 0 ties, 4 losses, 2 goals scored, and 8 goals against. Pitiful. Tedesco out, am I right? But we gotta give a shout out to Nuremberg, who for the first time since 2014 have won a Bundesliga match after defeating Hannover 96 2-0 at home. Those newly promoted Bundesliga teams seem to really blast off, hey? In France, well, PSG continued to breeze their way through the league, this time with a 3-1 victory over Rennes for their 6th win from 6. Nothing new here, no surprise here, and the relative ease of which they cruise through the domestic competitions compared to how they labor in Europe at times has more and more people asking if the low competition they face in Ligue is the reason why they have struggled so much when they face real opposition in their European competitions. And I mean, for me, it kind of makes sense. When you're the big fish in a small pond with no real peer in your league, no offense to the others that are basically just competing for 2nd place, bar the season that Monaco won it a few seasons ago. I don't know. What do you guys think? Does the European problem with PSG fall on the players, the manager, or the fact that they aren't used to competing at a high enough level? Speaking of Monaco, they slumped to a 1-1 draw at home to Nimes, while Lyon and Marseille faced off against each other on Sunday as well, and what you would think would be an incredible matchup. Well, the match was entertaining, but only for Lyon fans, I reckon, as it only got worse and worse for Marseille as time went on. After going into the half tied at 1-1, 2 goals from Bertrand Traoré and a 3rd from Nabil Fekir from Le Spot put Lyon out of reach. Marseille did claw one back in the 82nd, but just 1 minute later, Douchy Kaleta got himself sent off. So there's that. He's having a tough time adjusting to the Ligue. Well, Marseille and Lyon aren't even in the top 4 at this point in the season, as the top 4 in France looks like this, and you'll want to remember this because it's shocking and it may not last very long. PSG in 1st, well, let's be honest, that's not shocking at all. Lille in 2nd with 13 points. PSG already has a 5-point lead, guys. Montpellier in 3rd, and Toulouse in 4th. Marseille, Lyon, and Dijon are in 5th, 6th, and 7th respectively, all on 10 points. Now, isn't that fun? Well, this episode has been fun, guys, and it has felt good to get back in the old saddle for these weekend recaps. If you enjoyed this, then a like is always appreciated and welcome. If you're finding us for the first time, then subscribe if you want to join our community, but hey, no pressure, man. You do your thing. Other than that, I've been Adrian, will always be Adrian, and I'll catch you in the next video. FIFA 19 perhaps? Maybe. Okay, later.